Welcome to Crochet Recreations by Chris Loves Crochet. I'm Chris and I love crochet, and I hope that you do too. Today I'm going to walk you through the process that I use to figure out how much yarn I need in order to create a project. And I'm talking about creating a project that I don't already have a pattern for, because patterns, they give you the yardage. But if you want to do something kind of out of the box, something that is outside the lines a little bit, then you may need to do some figuring and before you buy the yarn, so you don't end up halfway through and you can't find it again. So this is the process that I use. And in order to do that, then you're going to need different things. You're going to need some yarn that you can make a swatch with that is of the same weight but is really froggable, easily torn out, because we need to tear it out to measure it, that is of the same weight of the project that you want to do. You probably don't have that yarn already. If you do and it's froggable, great, use it. Otherwise, use some scrap yarn that you think you might have enough of. Then you're going to need a tape measure, and you're going to need the crochet hook that you're going to use for the project itself. For sure, use the same size crochet hook for that. And something to write on and write with. You're going to need something, this is an itty bitty little tiny pin. I don't know if you can see it, but a safety pin or one of those really sharp stitch markers, something that you're going to be able to pierce through the yarn with. And some scissors maybe, and your project, something that you want to recreate. So once you get all those, and a calculator of some sort in order to figure. And so stay right there and we're going to get started in just a second. Okay, so today we're going to go through the process of figuring out what kind of yardage we are going to need for our project. Now, what I mentioned that I wanted to do was a mesh top that's going to go over like one of my t-shirts. So I found a t-shirt that I like the way it fits, and I have some in several different colors. So I can use a colorful variegated that I just got from Ice Yarn, but it's this. And if you can notice, this is something that's kind of it's considered a 4 weight worsted, but it's kind of boucle in that there's lots of stuff that's, it goes thin and then thick, and then lots of stuff sticking out, and it's kind of fuzzy, and we know that does not frog well. And not that I'm going to plan on making mistakes, but first of all, you never know when that happens. But second of all, frogging is a big part of getting through this process of figuring out our yardage that we need for our project. So what I did was found in my scraps something. This is so yummy. This is like a cashmere or something that's left over, but hopefully this is enough to do my swatch with. But it's also a 4, and it's not an overly chunky 4 as they do come sometimes, because the one that I'm going to use is semi-thin-ish for a 4. So I'm going to use this for my swatch. And so you need to figure out what kind of yarn you're going to use. If you're going to be able to do the swatch with it, then that's great. If you don't think that you're going to be able to frog with it, then find something else that's about the same size. Or if you haven't purchased it yet because you don't know how much to get, but you know what kind of yarn you want to get, then you take something out of your stash that has the same weight, so that you can use that for your swatch. The mesh that I've decided to do, and you can do any kind of stitch you want, just decide ahead of time which stitch you're going to use. I've decided to do a diamond mesh for my t-shirt overlay. And so we have the yarn, the 4 worsted that's froggable, and I know that I want to use a 5.5 millimeter eye crochet hook in my final project, so I certainly will. That's the one that I will use for the swatch, and I know what stitch I want to make, so I'm going to make my measuring swatch out of that stitch, which is in this case a diamond mesh. Now, if you're going to do the same one that I'm doing, then you're going to need to do you're going to chain a multiple of 5s and then add 2. So I'm just going to do a small one that will get me hopefully to a right around 6 inches. We want to get to 6 inches by 6 inches, or somewhere between 5 and 6 inches. A little bit bigger than a 4x4, which is the typical swatch, because when you want to get a little bit better of a reading for our average usage, so that we can make sure that we have enough yarn when we go out and purchase it. Because who likes to play yarn chicken? Oh, there's my clock. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for this, so you can use I'll take you through my pattern if you want. This is what I'm going to use. So we're going to chain in multiples of 5 until we get to about 6 inches here. So start with your slip knot, and then we're going to chain. Start with 15, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's only at 4 inches. Let's do 5 more. 3, 4, 5. That's at 5 inches. I'm going to go 5 more. 3, 4, 5. So I did 25 chains. And now I'm going to go for my plus 2. So I did 27 chains. My little swatch pattern has 17, but we can live with that, right? Okay, so when I do the single crochet across, starting with the second chain, instead of using just the one leg of the V, if you do that, that's fine. You just end up with a little bit of a wimpy edge that really requires at least a single crochet edging finishing. What I like to use is this back of it, which has the bumps on it. So here's the front with the V's. If you turn it all the way to the back, there are bumps on the back there that hopefully you can see, or you've seen before. So I will be doing my single crochet in my second chain in the bumps. So 1, 2, and so just do the way that you want to do it. If you're doing this pattern, I'm doing single crochet across for my foundation row. You do what you want. Sometimes the little bumps are a little difficult to get into, but I think it's very worth it. Okay, so I got to the end, and just so you can see that last bump, if you haven't ever done that, it looks like it's part of the knot, but it's not. It's not part of the knot. So go ahead and use that last bump, and we'll uncurl it a little bit and put it on our tape measure. And what I get, this is the pain. What I get is 6 inches. So, so that works for me. So we're going to start with that 6 inches. Put this away. And now I'll just show you a little bit of the pattern, and then I'm going to let you go do your pattern, either what I do or what you want to do. So this is with trebles, and they are 2 trebles together most of the time. So, but on the side, I'm only going to chain up 3 because it doesn't need the whole length of a treble, because the treble are going to be in that diamond shape, and so it needs a little bit of extra length for that side of the triangle. So we start from the beginning. We have the 3 chains up. That counts as a double crochet coming out of the first stitch. So for the first treble, we're going to yarn over twice and just skip 2. So we skip the first one because it's technically already used. Then we skip 2 more, and then we go into the next chain. Sorry, not chain. First crochet. Single crochet. And yeah, and so then we finish that. Now we are going to chain 4. So we're not skipping 4, we're going to go right back into this same stitch that we just did that first treble, and we're going to put 2 together with a space down here on the bottom, so we can start with the diamonds. So we go into that same stitch, pull up, draw through 2, and then hold with your last hoop on your hook. Roll, wrap it twice, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th one, go in, pull it up, draw through 2, You end up with 3 on your hook there, 3 loops. You can draw through all 3. Now we have 4 up here that we went through. We skipped the 4 down here, but these 2 are together. So now we need 4, 2, 3, 4 in order to keep the diamond pattern going. So again, it's going to be 2 together. We start in the stitch that we just left. Pull through 2, wrap twice, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th, single crochet. Going to do a partial treble. I have 3 on the hook. I'm going to pull through all 3. Now, we've got these triangles going, which are bottom parts of the diamond, and I'm going to continue that 1, 2, 3, 4 to the end. Dog problems. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through 2, yarn over and pull through all 3. Chain 4. Once again, start in the one that I just left. Pull through 2, leave it undone. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th stitch. I don't think I did my chain right. Anyway, pull through 2, You got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And now what we want to do is chain 2. Like we skipped 2 over here, we need to chain 2 over here, which is like half of the distance between the 2 ends there. And we need to end with a double crochet, just yarn over once. So in this swatch, for whatever reason, I have 1 extra. I'm not going to worry about it because it's a swatch. Otherwise, I would frog right now and do it again. Did I skip enough? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I don't know. Okay, so now we're starting from here. We're going to chain up 3 again and turn. I have my yarn on the wrong side. I'm going to do that. And then we're going to do the other side of the diamond. So we're going to go up this way and then 2 together going this way and this way. And instead of going into the stitches, I'm going to hoop it around. Otherwise, you see the stitches kind of stretch out a little bit, and I'm not really into that. So you can do it the way you want. But I'm going to start off again with so I'm going to go around this whole big giant piece of yarn there and start off with a treble like that. Now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And do 2 together. Yarn over twice. Go back. Just wrapping around this whole big thing of yarn here at the X. And pull through 2, We have 2 hoops on the hook. 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over twice. Go to this next stitch. Go around the stitch. Pull through 2, You got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So you can see that we're starting to get the diamonds. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to let you finish your swatch and try to get as close to 6 by 6 or 5 by 6, 5 by 5, however you can, and then I will meet back up with you here. Okay, so I've finished my swatch with the design that I wanted to do with the diamonds, and so I ended up with 5.5 by 5.5. So if I have 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, that's going to give me, pardon me, I should probably know this, but I don't. So 5.5 times 5.5 equals 30.25 square inches. So I'm going to round up to 31 square inches. And what I'm going to do on my sheet here is put it right there. Is to put 31 square inches for the area of my swatch unit. This is my swatch unit. So I know how much area it covers. Now I need to figure out how many yards was used in this swatch. So what I need to do is get something sharp. So either it's a safety pin or it's one of those really sharp stitch markers, because what you want to do is you can't just put it around or it's going to float around. So you need to actually pierce through the fibers of your yarn, and I'm going to pierce through it twice, hopefully making sure that it's going to stay right there. And I just barely made it with my little piece of red. So what I'm going to do is I have an area here on my workbench that actually is literally a measuring tape. It's a tape that measures. And so what I'm going to do is measure out. I'm going to start frogging. I have it marked. I have it marked here with my little tiny pin. And I'm going to start frogging. And I'm going to frog out the first yard. So get 3 feet. 1, 2, 3 feet. I'm not stretching it because that's not how it's measured when you buy it. So make sure it's just laying down very softly and you're not pulling it or stretching it. So I have a yard here. And so what I'm going to do is cut. I should have done this already. I'm sorry for the awkwardness. I have my yard there. I'm going to cut at the end here so I don't have all of this extra in my way. I'm going to remeasure my yard just to make sure I have my yard. And you can also do, the whole nose tip looking left out to your right arm. That gives you about a yard too. So as we start to unwind it or frog it, I'm just going to start measuring it against itself. I mean, there's no sense in me putting it down on the yard measurer. I'm just going to continue to just grab the end and pull it to the next end and fold over there and pull it. And like I said, you want to have a nice, easily froggable yarn, or you're going to be spending a lot of time on this portion. And it's really important. It's not great fun, I know. Frogging on purpose. I got a knot. There we go. It's that lovely cashmere. So I just continue going. I'm not counting right now. I'm going to count when I'm done. So I just continue to make these loops that are approximately a yard long based on my initial measurement. I just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Can you believe that many yards, that much yarn goes into such a small little swatch? It's just amazing. All those knots. Getting at the end, you want to be a little careful. Got myself another little knot. That's where it likes to get tangled. At the very end in the chain. So we're down to just the chain. Bop, 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 bop. So we have, let's see if you can see this. So this is a yard, and then I have another half a yard. So I'm going to count how many strands I have going across. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and a half. So my swatch unit has 18 and a half. 18.5 yards. I certainly hope that's what I said, because now I can't remember. Of swatch unit. So now with the rest of the math, here we go. The next thing we need to do are these steps. Okay, so first we need to find the area of the project that we're going to be doing. So if I take my t-shirt, I'm going to erase this from here. Oh, I didn't use a dry erase. It was a vis-a-vis. So it should not come off on my t-shirt. I'm going to use get my t-shirt out here and put it next to, I can use my tape measure, or I can just use my measure tape. And I'm going to make it into a big rectangle, or maybe even a square, depending upon how it comes out, so that it actually, I have some extra room to play with, because we don't want to, we want to round up a little bit. So here we have the length of the t-shirt goes all the way up to here, and if I look down at my little measuring tape here, I'll do it so you can see it. I'll start from the top of the shoulder and measure it down, and I have 25.5 inches up to down for the whole length. And then the widest part is of the shoulders. So let me do that again. 25.5, and then not of the shoulders, of the arms. And so then I'm going to take my arms, let me get it in there, and go across. My measuring tape is running away. And if I go from this tip of the sleeve all the way across to this tip of the sleeve, I get 23. So I averaged before and I got something different. So dog number. I'm going to do my, this is why I have black all over my fingers. So what I need to do is to figure out, what we figured out was 25.5 by, I've already forgotten. My goodness. Gotta take a memory vitamin or something. To 20 by 23. So it's 25 by 23 is the area of my t-shirt that I want to recreate. So in order to do that, the area that I just figured out was just for the front of it, right? So we want to have, we're not going to just make a bib, we were going to make it all the way around. And so what we need to do is to figure out that area and multiply it by 2 to get the square inches for the area. So I'm going to take 25 I said 25.5 times, what did I say, 23 equals 586.5 times 2. Ooh, I almost forgot. Times 2 because we have 2 sides. And that gives us 1,173. 1,173. 1173 square inches in the entire project. So then we take the area of the swatch unit, which we decided was 31. Square inches. Ah! I just did that wrong. Dagnabbit. To pull all that out of here. Maybe I'll edit it out. Maybe I'll just show you all the mistakes that I make. Because we're all just human, right? Okay, so area goes here. Area of the project is 1173 divided by the area of the swatch unit, which we said the area of the swatch unit is a 31 square inches. And this is square inches. You know, your math teacher always said you got to label your units or it doesn't mean anything. So we're going to figure out how many swatch units fit into the total area. So we're going to take the 1173 and divide it by the square inches of that's the area of the swatch unit, or the SU. So divided by 31. And that gives us 37.838709677. So I'm going to round up to 38. There are 38 swatch units. 38 swatch units in the total area of my project. So what does that mean? Well, then we take the number of swatch units and divide it by the yards of this in each swatch unit. I'm sorry, multiply it by the number of yards in each swatch unit. So we have 38. This seems like a lot, y'all, just because I'm telling you every single step, but it's not that bad. Times the yards in our swatch unit is 18.5. So that is 38 times 18.5 gives us 703. 703 yards. 703 yards are necessary in order to complete this project for this t-shirt, to make it about the size of this t-shirt, something that's going to go over it. We can use the same size because it's crochet, right? Because we can block it. It's going to stretch a little bit. I'm not going to worry about adding a half an inch here and there. I'm just going to go with the with the measurements that I have here. And then, so if we have 703, gosh, that's kind of a low number to be rounding up, but we always want to round up, you know, unless you can find a skein of yarn that has 703 yards, you're going to have to round up anyway. We're going to round up because we don't want to play yarn chicken, and because we're going to need some yarn for joining and for edging, some different things like that, and we don't want to go out later on and have to buy another skein just for just to finish the project when we could have gotten it in the first place. So depending upon which yarn you get, and I think this only tells me meters. Look, it's ice yarn, y'all. It's ice yarn. It's from Turkey. And yes, it just has meters, but it's 1.1. So it's 100 meters, so it's about 110 yards. So 703 divided by 110 yards. 703 divided by 110, 6.3. So 6.3, no, we're not going to buy 6.3 skeins of yarn or balls of yarn or whatever. We're going to buy 7. So we need 7 skeins or balls or hanks or whatever you're buying of yarn. If it's the same size as this, which these are pretty small, you'll probably have something that has more like 200 to 300 in each, and so you'll need 2 or 3. But since these are so small, it's going to take a little bit more. And I do have 2, 4, 6, 7. I have an 8th one somewhere. So I should be fine. But so what we're going to do then next time when we get together, the next time we get together, we're going to actually do the project, and what we're going to work on is the shaping. So we're going to start from the bottom up. So whatever your pattern is, if you're going to be doing the diamond pattern, there's the diamond pattern. If you're going to be doing that, following that, then you can start on this. If you're not, then figure out whichever pattern you're going to use, and you can go ahead and start at the bottom. And I would go up to, you know, just before we get together again and start talking about the waist and everything, just if you want to get started before I come back on, don't go more than about 6 inches. Go about 6 inches, depending upon your length. Go about 2 inches below where your waist starts. So on this t-shirt, I think it's about there because it's a pretty long t-shirt. So I would go about 8 inches or so. And then what we're going to do at that 2 inches marks is change our hook size and give it a little bit of a shape. And then change our hook size back. And then we will make the front, and then we'll make the back piece. And then we will connect them and worry about the sleeves. So that's what we're going to do next time. But for now, this was the math tutorial. So I hope that this was helpful to you. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And if this was helpful, click the like button. And this is going to be out there so we can go back to it, refer back to it for other projects as well. And it's not as difficult as it looks. I was just trying to show you every single step that we needed to take. So if you have an easier way of doing it, please put it in the comments below. That would be great. If you have a really good way of just eyeballing it, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But this is what we need, what I do when I am not using a pattern. So anyway, get out there, go shopping, find what piece it is that you want to copy, and it'll probably be good if it's a t-shirt or it's a sweater or if it's something that's a top of some sort so that you can follow along. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.